and thank you for joining us on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti, and here's what we are tracking for you today. A massive storm has moved from the northwest down to the southwest. Our team of meteorologists is tracking the latest on where the heavy rain is expected next. And as that storm moves through the west coast, it leaves behind soaked conditions. Oh my goodness, a month's worth of rain in just hours. We'll walk you through the alerts in place right now. Plus, it has been 1 year since a rare, massive storm plunged through Washington and Oregon, putting them into darkness. We're taking a look back at the bomb cyclone that slammed the Pacific Northwest in November of 2024 and the destruction that is still getting cleaned up today. And we are getting fewer hours of sunlight, but does taking vitamin D every day help? We'll look at what their doctors believe there are many benefits. Happy Monday, November 17th. Welcome to Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. This weekend, a massive storm has been working its way down the west coast, first impacting the Pacific Northwest and now keeping California wet. We will start today with that relentless rain drenching California. Streets have been flooded, stranding drivers from the Bay Area all the way down to Los Angeles. Emergency crews are rescuing residents trapped by rising waters. Some areas saw as much rain in 1 day as they normally do in the whole month of November. A major concern in California always is debris flows when we see heavy rain on top of burn scars. As of this morning, all evacuation warnings and orders in burn-scarred areas in Los Angeles have now been lifted. Officials are still warning people to stay alert, though.
Water levels are going to be rising, and that they need to look at either moving to higher ground or being prepared to leave when we get weather of the situations prior to their egress being cut off.
And as this storm continues to move through the south, another storm is moving in. Let's first get to meteorologist Rob Karlmark in Sacramento with how conditions in Northern California are looking now.
All right, I am meteorologist Rob Karlmark here in Northern California, and we've got a pretty active pattern. Now, for Northern California, the story of almost all of these storms has been rain, but really high snow levels. This one's a little different. We finally have the cold air moving in, but we still have some valley rain. So we're going to break it up as mostly rain, but in the mountains, finally, above 6,000 feet, we're looking at snow. Around here locally, 6,000 feet and above is snow at the edge of Lake Tahoe and all the mountain passes that people want to travel over, like 80 and 50, some of our major highways and byways. So looking out early through the morning hours, it looked like this. We had some scattered showers, some rain, some heavy rain, major issues on the roads. For Northern California, this is what we call leaf season. That's where we have a lot of the leaves that are falling off the trees, and then when you get rain like this, they float to the nearest drain, clog it, then you get roadway flooding, neighborhood flooding, and that was the story through the overnight hours. Now, the nature of the rain is going to change from this heavy band going all the way into Southern California. Then we get the more instability type showers. That's pop-up showers. It rains really hard for 10-15 minutes, maybe even some lightning related to thunderstorms, some hail. All of that is in this chunk right here, which is going to happen later on this afternoon into the evening, and then it's going to roll along. I will have to say this, our season has been pretty good so far. We've had a lot of days that have been cooler than average going all the way back into the middle of summer. But the nature of the early storms, even though we're right on the edge here for potentially by the end of the season above average rainfall, because this is a La Niña pattern, it's been dipping just below that so far this season. So we've seen two things, a lot of good early season storms. We're already at 20-25% of our yearly average for rain in places like Sacramento, but they've been a little bit on the warm side. This one is different. It is going to have quite a bit of snow, about a foot of snow over those mountain passes by the end of this, because this is going to take a while to work its way through, and it is going to be a little bit more spotty, but the cold air is entrenched, and that's going to give us snow chances all the way through the day and the overnight hours into Tuesday. But then we're going to see something that we need because we had weekend rain. We had a lot of action early on our Monday. You need a break in the rain, otherwise you run into flooding issues. And we're going to be able to get that on Tuesday through Wednesday. Then Wednesday night, we've got another system, not as strong, but it's just going to keep everything wet. We're going to see some Wednesday night and Thursday rain, and then easing up just ahead of the weekend, which is a big weekend of pre-Thanksgiving travel. Okay, the highs today are going to be very much on the low side. Our average highs for our area are right in the mid to lower 60s, and we're going to see lots of upper 50s out there. So it's going to be a cold day. We're going to see on and off showers everywhere you look in Northern California. And also, like I mentioned, above 6,000 feet, we're going to be watching for some snow. The big snow-related issue is that once you get over these passes and you're in the snow line, they will require chains to get over those mountain passes for trucks and for vehicles, unless you have four-wheel drive and you've got snow tires. It says right on the side of the tire, M+S. That means mud and snow, and that'll work to get over those mountain passes as long as it's four-wheel drive. You see the forecast, which is front-loaded with rain, a couple days of a break, and then rain coming back by Wednesday night through Thursday, clear for the weekend.
Time to swap out the snow tires. Southern California is also feeling the rain right now. Let's get to Netta Iranpour in San Diego with the conditions there.
Coming to you from San Diego, I'm meteorologist Netta Iranpour. Thank you so much for joining us, and check out what we got. This is pretty good for San Diego. A decent dumping of rain came through with this atmospheric river that brought all kinds of moisture. It was like waterfalls of water, especially on Saturday. So from Friday into Sunday, look at these totals. 3.3 inches for Fallbrook, Oceanside 2.6 inches. So much of North County took on the brunt of this atmospheric river that really just paused over much of our region. Looks like the South Bay, Chula Vista, La Mesa, not as much rain, but that's a lot for us here in San Diego. Certainly needing this moisture, just not all of it at once. Early this morning on a Monday, it does not look like there's more rain coming, but there is. We're watching for another system, in fact, two more for this week. And look at the skies, those wispy clouds coming through. It made for a beautiful sunrise. Hopefully we'll all see a beautiful sunset today too. As far as weather headlines here in the San Diego area, here's what we can expect. Light scattered rain today. The rain really, though, will get heavy tonight and throughout the day tomorrow. Some heavier cells that are going to be coming in pretty scattered. It's mainly tonight that we'll get a lot more of the moisture. And this other storm, yeah, it's interesting. Thursday, Friday, maybe early Saturday morning, we can get more rain. So this system, not the atmospheric river, the tropical moisture that we just got. Instead, it's an area low that actually worked its way from the north, moving in through northern into central California. And by the time it gets to San Diego, as is typical for us, it fizzles out a little bit. Not going to bring as much rain as it does, say, north of the Bight. That's where most of the action comes. But we do get a pretty decent amount expected, for us at least, later on tonight. So as of Monday morning, nothing yet. Pretty good day to go out for that walk. Your dog probably really needing it. But for tonight, let's time this out by 8, 9 o'clock. That's when that first line will come in. Yellows and orange indicate, some moderate to heavy rainfall. Even seeing some reds popping in every time we run this. And then by the, Tuesday morning, that early morning commute, you might see a little bit of that sunshine, but still don't let it think it's over. It's still going to continue on throughout the morning hours. Tuesday, as you notice, kind of scattered out there, but those heavier cells could bring in a decent amount of rainfall. And then by Wednesday, most of that will be gone. We'll be pretty dry on Wednesday. So for today, this Monday, mid upper 60s for most of San Diego, the coast and inland areas, cool, and the mountains in the 50s. But this system's a chilly one, and so by tomorrow, temperatures are actually going to drop a lot more. We'll see actually low snow levels for us too. The next round of rain, it's way up there, and that's the one still a little bit too early to time out exactly and see how much we'll get. But for this next latest one, we'll get about 3/4 of an inch west of the mountains. Mountains could get 1 to 1.5 inches. Deserts 1 to 2/10 of an inch. In our local mountains, snow could drop to about 5,000 feet in elevation. So 1 to 2 inches possible here. That's always exciting. A lot of people want to head out to the mountains maybe early tomorrow morning or Wednesday morning to go see if the kids can go sledding in it. Not much, but it's still coming. It's also cooler. We'll stay cool through the week and warming up for the weekend. The timing looks like your weekend outdoor plans can continue on. I don't think the rain's going to disrupt it too much. And that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining.
People in Portugal are cleaning up debris in the wake of a tornado kicked up by Storm Claudia on Saturday. The disaster killed at least one person and injured two others. An elderly couple has also been reported dead near Lisbon after they were unable to flee the flooding that swept through on Thursday. And parts of the UK are trying to dry out after that storm triggered severe flooding there. In southern Wales, some parts saw floodwaters strong enough to break down doors. Back to the West Coast now. The rain is heading toward the desert and Denver. After the break, we'll check in on our forecasts in Arizona and Colorado. Stay with us. Welcome back. The rain is heading toward the desert now. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries is watching the timing of the arrival in Arizona from Phoenix.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries. We'll look at your weather out west where, yeah, it's been a little bit on the soggy side. In fact, we went down in the record books yesterday, not for snow in Flagstaff, even though they did get a dusting in some areas, for rainfall. Check this out. Almost an inch of rain came down in Flagstaff yesterday, setting a new record, breaking the record set back in 1969 of under 3/4 of an inch of rain, and more is on the way. Now, other rainfall totals around the region, nothing officially at Sky Harbor, which is our official tally, but we did pick up portions of Phoenix areas, seeing about 4/100ths of an inch. I saw Trace and Chandler, Trace and Queen Creek, a little over 1/10 of an inch in Cave Creek. And then the bulk of the rain really stayed on the west side of the valley as, yeah, we saw all that moisture really kind of stop at the border between California and Arizona, and lots of flooding going on across California. This is all because of that atmospheric river that now is going to push this area of low pressure onshore, which is really going to have a more global impact on us. I was talking about this last week, where if the rain misses you, the cold air won't. And this is what I'm talking about. I mean, look at some of these numbers today and notice we don't have any rain icons on the board. However, we should start seeing some showers develop tonight into tomorrow, with another rain event expected across Arizona for Tuesday. Temperature wise, we're down around 73 in Yuma, 69 today in Tucson, 52 in Show Low, 45 today in Flagstaff, and 47 at the Grand Canyon. So we've got some sunshine, and then we're looking for some showers. Daytime highs actually getting back close to where we're supposed to be this time of the year. We're within 5 degrees of our normal range, so I'll still call it a normal day, but we just haven't been normal. So it's really going to feel much cooler. In fact, we've got the upper 60s for you through the noon hour. Look for considerable cloud cover through 4 o'clock, and then look at this drop off between 4 to 6. We've got one cell pushing on through in that area, and that could bring some scattered showers, but more rain after 8 o'clock tonight. And we could even see here, in fact, some thunderstorms overnight. Overnight lows down to about 60 degrees. Now, we do have a weather impact alert for you tomorrow, all because of the rain that's going to be pushing through the region. And yeah, this should bring in accumulated rainfall totals. Right now, it looks like, between 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of rain, but more is on the way. So word to the wise, because of the periods of rain tomorrow, have your umbrella handy. I think this time you're actually going to need it, not like over the weekend where it's just some stray showers primarily on the east side and central portions where you kind of deal with it or grab some shelter. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit of a different scenario, and then we'll start to see that moisture layer come on down, but the cool air is going to stick around. Now for Flagstaff, Tuesday and Wednesday should be your main precipitation event, and yes, I am expecting those snow elevations to come down as well. So as far as the rainfall totals, yeah, we should see some beefy totals in higher elevations. Could see up to an inch in some of our valley cities, but I think the bigger weather story is right here, the bottom line. Look at these daytime highs falling into the upper 30s this week for Wednesday and Thursday, which means snow elevation should be down around 6,000 to 7,000 feet. For you and me here in the valley, we are dropping into the 60s. Now, put this in perspective. We were still hitting 90 degrees a week ago. So yeah, this is still a major changeup in the works.
What a difference a couple weeks can make. Well, as we talk about that low-level rain and also mountain snow, of course, we're getting ready for the winter season. Ski season is ramping up in Arizona, as you heard Ginger say, with ski resort Snow Bowl set to open this Friday. Here, a little human intervention helps Mother Nature early on in the season. Take a look at this new video of crews busy making snow. They've already covered multiple trails in preparation for the opening. The resort has also added new tree glades and improved rentals and guest amenities. Last year, Snow Bowl set a record with 185 skiable days, and they're hoping for another great season. That winter spirit is certainly being felt in Denver, where they're also expecting blustery wind. Corey Reppenhagen and Katie LaSalle have more on the winter weather advisories that have been issued in Colorado.
Hey, it's meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen here with the 9 News Weather Impact Team in Denver, Colorado, and we have snow happening in our mountains. We are off to just a very rough start, the slowest snow season in history to this point, but we do have winter weather advisories that go into the day early Monday, and total we're expecting about 4 to 10 inches on some of those advised passes. We could also see some snow outside of those places like the Eisenhower Johnson Tunnel picking up 1 to 3 inches just to the west of Denver. But for the most part, on the Front Range, what we're going to get is a bunch of wind. And I mean a bunch of it. It'll start to happen in the overnight hours going into Monday. Some of those wind gusts in the foothills could reach that 75-mile-per-hour range at times. And down here on the metro corridor, Denver, Fort Collins, we're looking at 15 to 30-mile-per-hour gusts, which is pretty significant. So you'll notice those winds throughout the day here, and maybe tapering off just a little bit as we get into the evening, but not in the foothills. That stays pretty gusty all the way into Tuesday. We'll start to simmer down just a little bit, but we'll stay breezy for a couple of days with these storm systems. Very active patterns, so it's good for our mountains. Not as much action here or impacts to the Front Range with this system. That first one going to blast right out of here, but leave a good mark of snow on our mountains. And it's just reloading this pattern. Right here, we have another low pressure system almost in the same spot in Southern California. That one, as it moves forward, we'll get a little bit more of the trough and a support from the backside here with another trough of low pressure coming in. So this will be another good hit for our mountains here in the Colorado Rockies, but not as much as an impact on the Front Range. Although Friday morning, we will have our shot at our first snow accumulation of the season. If it does happen on Friday morning, it would be the second latest first snowfall in history here in Denver. And I'm saying there's a shot, but it's a very limited shot. Here's what we need. There are some rules. We need 1/10 of an inch of snowfall to count as official measurement, and it has to happen at Denver International Airport because that is our official climate station for Denver. So if that happens on Friday morning, we could get this monkey off our back, but the chances are pretty limited. Here we go on Thursday. This is the 7-day forecast for Denver. It'll start to look a little wintry, feel a little wintry. We may even see a rain-snow mix at times, but our chance is right here. Friday morning, we could get a little bit of a mix, maybe some snowfall. Temperatures may be just supportive to get 1/10 of an inch. That's all we need. Not a great chance, but it is our first chance, and we will take it. And then once we get into the weekend, we'll simmer down just a little bit before we await our next storm system. That's a look at your forecast. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a real nice week.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. On this November 17th, hooray, it is snowing in portions of the mountains. To kick off the day, it has been accumulating over mainly the grassy surfaces, roads in pretty decent shape to and from the high country. But we are still waiting here in and around the Denver area of our first snow very late for the season. I want to take you through some of our 24-hour snow totals. This is not major for the high country, but it has been such a late start. We have ski resorts open and they've been hoping for this, and accumulations have ranged between 2 and 3 inches over the past 24 hours from Copper Mountain, A Basin, Keystone to Vail. So you will find some winter driving conditions in the high country for the rest of the day. Gusty winds down sloping, so it's not going to be moisture over the plains, but we do have the potential for a sprinkle or two over the far northeastern corner of Colorado. The main weather impact for today will be strong winds here over the metro area, upwards of 35 miles per hour at times possible. Let me take you through our 7-day forecast because we are hoping and bracing for some changes by the end of the week. For today, mountain snow snow, gusty winds, a high of 60 degrees in Denver. Low 60s Tuesday and Wednesday, but as we look ahead Thursday, that's when we'll introduce more wet weather to the forecast, also some colder air. We are inching closer to the latest first snowfall in Denver. These are our records. The latest ever was back in December 10th of 2021, but if we don't see that snow on Friday, we will be second. Right now, as of the 17th, we are tied for the 5th latest first date. So as we look ahead to Friday morning, it all depends on just how cold the temperatures get. You'll see lows in the low 30s, it's looking like right now, but if some of that colder air rolls in faster, the rain shifts over to snow. It's all temperature dependent. And you can see from our 7-day forecast one more time, rain 51 degrees on Thursday. Should not impact the roads too much, just with the mild air and warmer pavement, but 33, the expected low to start the morning on Friday. We'll keep you posted how this system develops, but temperatures by the end of the week will be chilly, a wintry mix possible early, and then clearing skies looking nice for the weekend.
Well, the big dark is here, and we're about a month away from the day with the least amount of daylight of the year. That means we're missing out on vitamin D. Coming up, a dietitian shares whether vitamin D supplements can meaningfully boost your vitamin D levels. Welcome back. As we head deeper into dark days, a reminder to think about vitamin D. Seattle's Christine Pei looks into how effective vitamin D supplements really are.
Vitamin D is wondrous if you think about it.
It's so unique because it's the one vitamin that we actually get from the sun, literally, the reaction that the sun has on our skin, which is unique. No other vitamin is like that.
When our skin absorbs UV rays, it makes vitamin D. And this version of vitamin D made from sunshine is exceptional.
It lowers blood pressure and can reduce rates of cardiovascular disease.
Judy Simon, a registered clinic dietitian at UW Medicine, says that comes from sunlight triggering the release of nitric oxide in our skin. Amazing, isn't it? But as the days grow darker sooner during these fall and winter months, many opt for vitamin D supplements. The question is, are they as effective as catching some rays? Simon says supplements are effective and adds it might depend on the type of supplement you take.
First of all, it's best that it's in an oil form, okay, rather than a gummy or maybe a solid. An oil form is best. Eating it with a meal, even your largest meal, and having some fat at the meal has shown to have the most impact on raising your vitamin D level.
By oil form, Simon says, the kind in those soft gel capsules. As for what vitamin D does for us exactly, it's basically everything.
Every cell in our body has vitamin D receptors, and we need vitamin D to optimize our metabolism, for bone building, for metabolic health.
Historically, people supplemented vitamin D from sources like cod liver oil or fish stock. It's naturally found in salmon, with smaller amounts in egg yolk, fortified dairy, even mushrooms when it's exposed to UV light. But Simon says it's challenging to get enough from diet alone, and symptoms of deficiency may not be apparent at all. She says a good first step to figure this out is talking with your primary care doctor.
Many people won't know they're deficient unless they get that baseline.
But let's get now ahead to the Pacific Northwest. It has been 1 year since the Pacific Northwest was hit by a powerful bomb cyclone. This storm turned deadly, and some impacted areas are still cleaning up. We're going to take one quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at this storm's destruction still being felt today. Welcome back to the Northwest now. The owner of a Seattle apartment building is waiting for crews to stabilize the building after the hillside gave way on Friday. The landslide happened behind the Queen Anne Apartments and underneath a sidewalk in Seattle. Inspectors tagged the building yellow, meaning there's structural damage, but residents can stay put as long as they stay away from certain areas. Sound Transit confirms this is the area where the new Ballard light rail extension could go, and the slope stability is being studied for that project. Neighbors are worried about what could come next.
Unless they do some really substantial kind of, retaining wall thing, they shouldn't do any more building for sure. They shouldn't be running a a link for the rapid transit, the light rail underneath this. I mean, look, it would not be safe for sure.
At this point, inspectors still have not officially said what triggered the slide, but it did happen during that heavy rain event. Well, we have shown you the widespread impacts across the West Coast from this massive storm. The Pacific Northwest was the first to get hit and is the first to see some clearing. But as meteorologist Rich Marriott shows us, another storm is on the way for Western Washington.
Well, happy Monday morning. I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and the way we ended the week was pretty wet and last week. Then this week we're starting pretty wet. Not as wet as what we saw last Friday, which was a real soaker, but we've been watching pretty consistent rainfalls moving up from a low that's headed into California. It's pretty much wetting things down. It's been a little bit of a break up there to the north, but they'll get some more here in a little bit. You can see pretty wet around the Kitsap Peninsula, on up there along the Hood Canal, and on the other on the east side of Puget Sound as well. So hard to escape that. But if we widen out and look to the south, you see that the flow is starting to dry out, and we should see the showers diminish as we head towards midday, and then just some off and on showers this afternoon, though we may see a few linger into tomorrow because of a little bit of a convergence zone that may form up there to the north, but it's going to be pretty weak, so it may only produce some clouds and a few sprinkles. Look at the Port Angeles Tower cam this morning, looking, well, relatively dry compared to the rest of the sound. They're probably seeing a little rain shadowing by the Olympics given that southerly flow. And there in Bellingham, they've been a little bit drier than the rest of the sound, but again, I think more of that's going to be moving northward here in the next couple of hours. And just a very dark looking day there in the central sound, looking out towards Seattle. Ever since the sun came up, it was kind of hard to tell it was coming up for a while because it stayed so dark for so long. That part isn't too different from what we saw on Friday. And you can see down there in Tacoma, a wet looking morning underway there as well. Checking out at Westport, they've been escaping the rain so far today. The way that flow pattern's set up, they've been mostly dry with a few sprinkles, and we've even seen a few breaks in the overcast, so they've gotten lucky compared to the fact they normally get the most rain. Checking that 7-day forecast, you can see we trend downward on our rainfall and actually have a totally dry day on Wednesday, something to look forward to. And then it gradually gets a little wetter as we head towards the end of the week, and it looks like we'll see some rain moving in off and on over the course of the weekend yet again. But the other thing to notice is the fact that we have some cooler temperatures to start off the week, struggling up to hit that 50-degree mark most places. Satellite image does show that system headed into California, rotating that moisture up our direction. High pressure is going to be building out there. This is going to cause this system to pretty much split around us. So as we head towards tomorrow, we'll see a little bit of convergence zone action going on north of Seattle for some showers there, but it should clear to partly sunny just about everywhere else. And then as we head into Wednesday, looks like that'll move in, the ridge will move in, and that's going to give us that dry day with some sunshine. So see, checking the computer model, you can see the moisture coming up from the south today. That gets cut off, it leaves behind a little bit of shower action as we head into Tuesday. And then as we head towards later Tuesday and the ridge really starts to push in, we dry out for Wednesday. And then looks like we start to get a little wet again. That next system off the coast actually splits, and most of it goes down to the south and a little bit to the north, and mostly just misses it as we head towards the weekend. Take a look out this morning at the passes. It's basically raining at all the passes. The snow levels over the weekend were about 8,000 to 9,000 feet. So still not helping out our ski area snow situation, and we're not going to see much of an improvement this week, unfortunately. They do have North Cascades Highway still closed this morning. They're going to make a decision today whether or not to close it for the remainder of the winter season or to try and reopen it. So we'll let you know as soon as we know. And you can see there at White Pass also just looking at bare and wet pavement. Those snow levels, they do drop down to 4,000 feet, maybe even 3,500 feet tomorrow briefly, but we're also drying out at that time, so you're not going to get much to speak of. And we pop right back up to 8,000 feet. Starts to cool a little bit on Sunday. The long-range models are hinting at maybe some cooler air headed our way as we get into Thanksgiving week, maybe getting snow levels down to the base of some of the ski areas with a little bit of snow. So something to look forward to, a kind of a glimmer of hope in the distance. So today that steady rain turns to off and on showers with a few sun breaks. Tomorrow we'll see a few showers, especially north of Seattle, and a little bit of a convergence zone. Temperatures around 50 both days. Partly sunny after some morning fog for Wednesday, and then just a few showers around on Thursday, mixed with sunshine. We'll look for mostly cloudy Friday, rain moving in late Friday, rain at times Saturday, partly sunny with showers around on Sunday. Those high temperatures getting back close to normal later in the week in the low to mid 50s.
Staying in the Northwest now, sometimes weather does not just arrive, it explodes. This week marks 1 year since a historic bomb cyclone tore through the Pacific Northwest, killing several, devastating homes and leaving communities in the dark for days. Today, we take a look back at the storm, reminding us of nature's power and fury. Here's Seattle's Jake Wittenberg.
With every mile it passed over the Pacific, the radar signaled a warning about a storm of historic proportion. The physics was terrifying. A record-tying drop in atmospheric pressure essentially created a massive vacuum, then a swirling storm that underwent bombogenesis, creating what's known as a bomb cyclone.
Here's the culprit. This storm system sitting off the coast looks remarkably like a hurricane.
King 5 meteorologists warned of damaging winds. And by nightfall on November 19th, those warnings became reality.
Uh-oh, did you notice that? We just lost power. The street light just went out.
The strongest hurricane-force gusts ripped through western Washington, hitting East King County the hardest, uprooting trees, sending debris flying. In Seattle, a Metro bus took a direct hit.
I heard a big crack and a boom. It happened really quickly.
Across the region, disaster struck. All many could do was hunker down for the night and wait out the storm in the darkness. Not even our mountain passes were spared, with a rare blizzard warning also in effect.
Blowing snow is the big concern out here, creating those visibility issues.
It was a long night. At dawn, the scope of the damage was coming into focus. I was shocked to see so many power outages.
But look at all the east side red here, all of those spots marking a substation or a power outage of some kind.
Puget Sound Energy estimates 400 miles of its transmission lines were tangled or destroyed in the winds. Utility crews across the region scrambled to keep up, and in many cases it was still too dangerous to be working. At the height of the storm, nearly 1 million homes and businesses were without electricity, and it was clear some would be without power for days or weeks.
But I did not expect this level of disaster.
Countless buildings were damaged or destroyed, including this century-old church in Hoquiam.
This is a miracle in the sense that no one got injured.
We also learned of the storm's first victims. In Linwood, a woman in her 50s seeking refuge in a homeless encampment was tragically killed by a falling tree.
Oh my God.
And in Bellevue's Bridal Trails neighborhood, a crashing tree killed a 65-year-old woman in her home. And in the days that followed, the cleanup.
We were very fortunate how and where it fell on that corner.
Neighborhood after neighborhood was buried in trees and branches.
And now the wind and the storm is continuing and coming back around, so it's adding to the mess.
And neighbors without electricity were left leaning on each other, waiting for hundreds of utility crews to try and recover the power.
We have a neighborhood here that we'll look out for each other, and we'll get through this.
Our King 5 cameras captured incredible damage and close calls. In Kingston, a 275-foot tree made easy work of this family home.
So this is the kitchen.
The destruction was just staggering. As far back as records go, a cyclone as strong as the 2024 bomb cyclone is the strongest ever to hit in the month of November.
There's no words to explain how we feel.
Reminding us all about the overwhelming power of nature anytime, anywhere. Jake Wittenberg, King 5 News.
And we have lots of coverage planned, taking a look back on the damage that is still in place today. Stay with us all week long as we bring you all of those stories. And as you heard Rich discuss earlier, Western Washington is heading into a very brief period of mild weather. Western Oregon mirrors that. Let's get to meteorologist Rod Hill in Portland with the forecast there.
On a Monday in Portland, I'm Rod Hill. I was all ready to tell you it's a rainy morning, but already we're ending the rain. What had been steady rain starting for much of the I-5 corridor, Salem, Portland, and Vancouver, going back to yesterday morning, is rapidly breaking up on the way to ending as I speak with you. Here's a look at rain totals. Now, these go back to yesterday morning. We don't see this often where the valley gets more than the coast, but that was the case this time around. Tillamook 35 100s, Portland 43 100s, Salem and Eugene both cracked over 6/10, and we had some 4/10 out in La Grande, out toward the Blue Mountains in eastern Oregon. Also 4/10 in Vancouver and 4/10 in Kelso. You know, we had all that dry time last week, and that wiped out the surplus for November that we had built in the rain bucket. And then we just had enough rain over the past 24 hours to kind of keep us even Steven. Of course, November is a big month. You don't want a dry month. You want to have the first month of the rainy season looking good and healthy. This is a continuing disappointing story. This is the camera on Mount Hood, so the summit's up here somewhere. That's the ground just above Timberline Lodge, and my point is, there's no snow there. Early morning numbers have cooled down to 36 degrees, but it was all rain with this system as well, and we talked about this last week. Modeling is showing little, if any, hope to have snow on the slopes for any type of a partial opening for Thanksgiving weekend, which of course is a week from this weekend. So that's a kind of a sad news story that we're following right now, especially compared to a year ago when the resorts were already open and they already had some pretty hefty bases to report. Here's the fizzling rain pattern, everything coming up from south to north. And it's not just here on the west side of our state, but some showers over in central and eastern areas as well. Futurecast seems to correctly show that we are completely drying this morning. It's kind of a bit of a guessing game as to how long it's going to take us to start to break up the thick, low cloud deck that is in place. Futurecast does show some partial clearing in some areas holding cloudy this afternoon. Best chance of clearing might actually be at the coast, and some of our cameras at the beach are already showing some breaks in the cloud cover. There's a break right there looking from our Schnuckwins Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City this morning. Salem, all right, we had such beautiful fall foliage. I mean, look at the trees with the rain we've had, just not much left on them. Again, Salem's picked up over 6/10 of an inch of total rainfall in the past 24 to 30 hours. There's the view from our Vancouver waterfront, the springs of the waterfront. That's the I-5 bridge, folks crossing the Columbia River between Oregon and Washington. And there's our Rose City camera with the cloudy skies. Keeping you updated on the Cascades. Snow levels falling, but as the moisture ends, and temperatures of pass level today will hold fairly steady in the low 40s, so no travel issues there. And statewide, we will be dry with varying degrees of clearing versus cloudy skies later today. It shows 53 in Baker City and 52 in Tillamook, so not much variance. And once we open up dry weather today, we'll stay mainly dry tomorrow and dry on Wednesday. And if we get down to 40 or 42 tomorrow and into the 30s Wednesday morning for Portland, it would be the first time in a week that we have any sort of overnight chill. So we're tracking that. Showers returning to our area, it looks like Wednesday overnight into Thursday.
Thanks, Rod. Still ahead, we've talked about snow in parts of our weather out west regions. We'll have an update on the La Niña conditions this winter. Plus, we are going to head inland in the northwest with your forecast from Spokane and Boise. Stay with us. A few showers are still lingering in eastern Washington. Let's now go to meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane with a track of when conditions will clear out there.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. A brand new week, more rain chances, though this time around our rain chances are actually a lot lower than what we've seen recently. We kick off the day soaking wet thanks to yesterday and last night. Bit of rain ended at around 2 a.m. and since then it's really thinned out to the point where I've already dropped rain chances in Spokane pretty significantly for today. A little bit of some light showers still possible tomorrow as well as temperatures slowly cool off for now. Next week could be a different story, but hold on to that thought. All right, across the region, the light rain from last night really came to an end. There might be a few sprinkles still hugging the North Idaho or western Montana mountains. Otherwise, there hasn't really been much to track this morning. Bit of a cold front on the west side will eventually arrive tomorrow morning. That gives eastern Washington the best chance of rain really this entire week here. High temperatures will be still low 50s this afternoon. Very mild for the season. Even our low temperatures ended up at 46 degrees this morning, which is above the average high. We are almost 10 degrees above normal for today. So this is absolutely mild for mid-November. Now, yes, we do get a cold front for Tuesday morning. With that being said, there's a little bit of light rain that will start to trickle in, but really only from Spokane County and then eastward through North Idaho. And these showers are still scattered in nature, so it's still not a guarantee that everyone even gets rainfall. So our rain chances only go up to about 30%, and that's about the highest we get all week. Late week, there could have been a storm, but instead, this low pressure region takes a big dive southward towards California. So a lot more rain way to the south. Instead, we're just in a more quiet weather pattern for the Pacific Northwest for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thanks to a little gentle ridge in the jet stream, not going to be too much warmer than average thanks to Tuesday's cold front. Now, this is where things could get interesting for the Northwest. And around this weekend and next week, that ridge flattens out. And if it starts to buckle into a trough shape, that would give us some colder than average weather. We will likely see a cold front, probably some rain at first. But could we ultimately see snow next week? It's a possibility, but hard to tell if there really is going to be any kind of precipitation more than a week out. The temperature trend, though, does go colder than average across all of Washington state. The precipitation is kind of a maybe, maybe not. So we'll see. But I can tell you this. We are late to the game in terms of our first snowfall. That average first snow in Spokane is November 13th. Average first inch of snow November 21st, which would be this week. But we're not forecasting any snow for this week, not even close, because it's just a little bit too mild for the season. So we will have to wait another week for snow, and it will be possible next week, but you'll have to stay tuned for that. As for this week, we go from 51 today to just mid-40s every day for the remainder of the week. Best chance of rain is going to be on Tuesday morning.
Idaho is also relatively mild compared to the rest of our West Coast regions. Let's get now to Tyson White in Boise with the forecast for this week.
Hi there, I'm Tyson White from KTVB out here in Boise, and we're going to take a look around our region today and see what we're kind of seeing here across southwest Idaho. This is up at the Redfish Lake visitor camera, and this is really just kind of one of the beautiful shots that we see here across southern Idaho. This morning, a little gloomier looking out there with some rain over the area, some low clouds too, so still picturesque. Here in the Boise area, looking quite gloomy too. We're looking at Skycam 7 over at the KTVB studios, and really just kind of cloudy conditions kind of socked in here. We saw some rain showers earlier this morning, and those have slowly tapered off. Here in the Long Valley and Valley County, we're seeing rain showers continuing. This is Highway 55 at Smiths Ferry, Cougar Mountain Lodge there in the background, and some low clouds too, so really kind of an ominous look here. So we put the time lapse here into motion across May Marina this morning. Really, you can see those low clouds there, some rain showers on and off throughout the morning. This will continue through the early afternoon here for the mountain locations as the system slowly moves northeast and out of our area. We'll take a look at the big picture here in just a moment. Here's our daily almanac though for today. Our average high for the Boise area, where we usually sit about 48 degrees, we're going to be well above that at 57 degrees for today. We're going to keep that temperature trend for the rest of this week too. We in November have not seen a below average day, or right at average day, I guess I should say, since the start of November. 17 full days where we're seeing temperatures well above average for this month. Not looking good for ski season just yet, but we'll get there. For today though, here in the Magic Valley, 54 degrees for Jerome and Twin Falls. Partly cloudy skies here as that system slowly moves eastward and gets out of our way. Here for Central Mountain locations, we could still see a spotty shower or two for Stanley, Sun Valley throughout the early afternoon. Haley and Fairfield also could see that, with temperatures in the upper 40s for these locations. Here for the Long Valley, like I was mentioning a moment ago, 53 degrees for McCall. We'll see some scattered showers throughout the day here as well as that system makes its way northeast. Riggins being the warm spot there at 62 degrees. Western edge of the Treasure Valley will sit 57 at Weiser as well. Partly cloudy skies here. Things are starting to dry up as we move through the morning hours here. This could still see one or two spotty showers in Ontario, Weiser, and Emmett areas throughout the early afternoon. Here for the Boise area, we've dried up for the most part here as well. We should be seeing maybe the sun peeking through a cloud or two by the early afternoon. 57 for daytime high for Boise, much of the Boise area. Here's the big picture. This low pressure system, that's what's been bringing us those showers Sunday night into Monday as well. We're starting to see that shift northeastward and out of our way. The next system we're keeping an eye on is just off the coast of California. That's what's going to keep us mild through the rest of the week. It's going to bring in a chance of showers for mountain locations by Wednesday into Thursday. We're not seeing a great chance of showers out of this for valley locations. We'll see a little moisture in the air, but not anything that will bring us some heavy rain here for valley locations. Here's the future cast. That's going to help paint that picture. Here's those clouds clearing out. Of note, I do want to point out, overnight, Monday night into Tuesday morning, as well as Wednesday morning, we could be seeing some light fog across the Treasure Valley, as well as the Magic Valley. So that's something to keep an eye on for your commute the next few mornings as we kind of move through with this system pushing out of the area. There's those storm chances. That weak system that pushes in Thursday, bringing us a very, very slight chance of showers here in the Treasure Valley. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're still seeing a system that's pushing in, that's bringing in some questionable decisions on temperature and rain totals there for the weekend. For the Treasure Valley for today, like I mentioned, mostly cloudy skies, up to about 57 degrees for the daytime high. And for the Magic Valley for daytime highs, we'll be in the mid-50s, right around 55 degrees. And we'll see the sun peeking out here just a little bit as well across the Magic Valley, that is.
Thanks, Tyson. Well, La Niña conditions are present now and are expected to continue for the remainder of the calendar year. La Niña is a climate pattern characterized by cooler than average ocean water along the equator in the tropical Pacific. Forecasters expect a warmer winter for the southern United States as well as in California and much of the East Coast and Florida. In the Pacific Northwest and upper Midwest, colder than normal conditions are predicted. The northern Rockies and Great Lakes region are forecast to get a good amount of snow and rain. Meanwhile, the nation's southern tier is forecast to see a drier than average winter. However, take note, it is a weak La Niña, and historically speaking, weak La Niñas can tip the scale in those directions, but it is not a guarantee. Well, still ahead as we head into holiday travel season, the FAA is getting back to normal following a shutdown. We'll look at airport conditions as we head into the holiday season coming up next. Finally today, this is a look at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, where the FAA's emergency order that reduced flights at 40 United States airports has now been fully lifted. The reduction was initiated during the government shutdown due to a shortage of air traffic controllers, but now the FAA says staffing levels have been stabilized, allowing full service to be restored. This comes, of course, just days before the busy Thanksgiving holiday travel period begins. AAA predicts nearly 82 million people will travel at least 50 miles from home during that period. That runs from the Tuesday before Thanksgiving to Monday, December 1st. That is 1.6 million more travelers compared to last Thanksgiving, and a new record. AAA projects the majority of people, at least 73 million, will travel by car. 6 million United States travelers are expected to take domestic flights over the Thanksgiving holiday period, a slight increase from last year. The AAA spokesperson reveals the worst time to travel.
Anytime after lunchtime is when you're going to really see that traffic building, especially on the interstates at major metros.
Good news there. Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West on this Monday. I hope you all had a good weekend and your week has started off to a good start. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. Thanks so much for being with us today. We will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day.